Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. What happens to old requests to the universe? Was asked to me by an email, I believe, actually. But they were asking, what happens when we put all this information out there, these requests, right? Which like, universe, I want this. When are we going to be there? When are we going to be there? And then we do this for months on end. And then all of a sudden we decide, I don't want this anymore. What happens to all those requests? It's a great question. It's like, what happens to them? Oh my gosh, I sent all this stuff out there. It's going to bombard me. Oh no. All this stuff's going to come get me. I'm going to bombard myself with manifestations, be dented by pelting manifestation hail, right? How horrible would that be? You're in the middle of a wonderful relationship that you finally manifest after finally giving up on that horrible manifestation, and then all of a sudden they come walking into your life going, doo-doo-doo, hi, right? Can't have that. Well, good news, bad news. I guess a lot of it really, as most of the things I talk about, kind of depends on where you're coming from. So, really it comes down to supporting thoughts. And this is why I talk about when we manifest things and letting go and those concepts. It really comes down to this core topic about the supporting thoughts that we have during the day, during the moments that we're having issues, in between, the spaces in between, as a good friend of mine used to call it, and as Dave Matthews also calls it. It's a great song, by the way. But it's those supporting thoughts that kind of get us from not A to B, but more like C to N, right? Like, the A to Z part is the whole thing, the whole manifesting, but big chunks of it throughout the day are going to come down to these supporting thoughts. Now, when you desire something, even if you've let go, by the way, even if you've let go, because even when we've let go, even when I've let go, the thoughts still pop into my head from time to time. It's me not doing the efforts. It's me kind of just backing away from it for a moment. It's me taking a pause for the cause. It's giving myself a chance to regroup. When I do that, I find it makes a big difference. It kind of gives me a new frame of reference. I stop having all this like, it's not happening, right? All those sorts of scary things that we go through when we're trying to manifest something quickly or quicker than it seems to be happening. So from those standpoints, this still, like, they're going to pop into your head. So the way we handle that when we still want this manifestation to occur is we kind of affirm it. We'll say something like, hey, I love him. That's great. Yeah, I miss you. Or, yeah, that's true. Or we're going to be at that place over there when I'm walking by it, and they popped into my head, and I'm like, well, yeah, that'd be an awesome place for us to have. Anyway, whatever. I'm not thinking about her right now. And I'd go back to what I was doing. But you still have that confirming thought. The universe is like, here you go. There's a little something that you've put out there. If you're still interested in that path, then some sort of confirmation, usually to some degree, will occur. Now, some of us that are struggling with manifestation, for example, might actually have a lot of confusion in our thought process. So we're manifesting all sorts of interesting stuff, some good things, some good signs and symbols, but because we're constantly like, but he's maybe cheating on me too, the other 50% of the time, then we're also noticing that there's these different moments where he seems to be flirting with other people, and maybe he is a flirt. I'm not trying to say this guy is a bang-up guy. I've only met him twice, and both times, I don't know, there's something shady about him. Of course, I've never met him at all. Hopefully that's obvious for those of you. Anyway, you never know. But it's that supporting thought that keeps our manifestations moving forward. Now, when you do stop, yes, you will experience stuff. Even if you don't want it anymore, you will see a period of time where things will happen. You'll still see signs and symbols. And they do go out quite a ways. Quite a ways you will still experience things that will remind you of it. Things that will pop up, that will remind you specifically of what you were trying to manifest back in the day, some of the signs you had asked for, certain things that you were working on manifesting. And by the way, it's one of the joys of truly letting go and truly getting out of your own way, which is why I always recommend it. It's one of the biggest benefits that comes from it. When you do, you almost always invariably see all sorts of signs and symbols that point towards your goal, because you're still leaning in that way from a residual energy standpoint, or I always forget the escrow, the one that escrow Hicks always says. Still, we're leaning in that direction. There's still a lot of energy and residual energy in that direction, and that is what keeps that ball rolling. How we react to it is what I'm talking about with sporting thoughts. Now, when you've truly gotten to a place where you don't want something anymore, that's a different story. One, now a larger portion of your focus is no longer on this other thing, but is actually on this new thing. You're actually spending time thinking about them, thinking about places where you're going to go with them, thinking about time you're spending with them, maybe growing your relationship with them, right? So now all of a sudden, a majority of your focus is completely on them. And these efforts you did over here, even though we self-sabotage a lot, right? But all these efforts over here are being kind of, universe is like, oh, okay. And so you'll get occasional reminders, occasional signs will pop up that'll remind you of your specific person. And if you're at that place where, yeah, I'm not supporting that thought anymore. I'm done with that level of thinking. I'm done with those questions. I'm done with that part of this evolution. Then you no longer support them. So when they pop into your head, you're like, yeah, but I'm done with that. That's a phase. That's in the past. Not interested. Thank you. Peace. Moving on down the other way. Oh, really? So just saw her favorite color on a license plate, which, by the way, still indicates you're thinking about her, because otherwise you probably wouldn't have noticed the sign. But maybe it's their initials, right? Pops up, and that still catches you because for 4 years that's your initials. You were with them or whatever, right? So like that. So you see it, and you're like, wow, there's their initials. Wow, interesting. Well, I'm not really with, one thing you could say, I've done this before, is like, I hope they're well, but that's like the end of it. I don't imagine it further. I don't give it an extra kick towards spending time with them. I look at it like I don't believe that being with them is something that's going to happen. It's not something that I accept as a reality. So because of that, I don't really give it more power, but at the same time, I might love the person and be like, yeah, no, I love you. I mean, like my SP before, like, there's still love there. That never will change, never, no matter what. But it's a difference of the direction and focus that I'm heading in my life. It's the difference of where I'm currently putting my efforts and what I'm currently experiencing and what I'm currently growing in my life is more important to me than this thing that I was putting energy towards. So again, when it's in the past and we no longer want it, those energies start to go to the wayside. They start to go bye-bye, if you will. So don't worry too much about them. Again, you're going to be reminded about them from time to time, but there's not going to be this thing where it's going to happen and it's going to force you to change your mind. And again, to why I frequently talk about law of attraction doesn't force people to do things. It just throws suggestions and it throws things that feel a certain way, and it gives that kind of indication like, hey, there's something over here that might be fun. And they might react to that by saying, oh, wow, look at that. That person seems wonderful. I want to talk to them, right? It engages that energy flow, that movement of that connection. But it doesn't mandate behaviors. There are always free will choices that each and every one of us get. So if you're changing your mind, change your mind. That's one of the wonderful things about manifesting. I can manifest whatever I want, and if I don't like it tomorrow when I see it, it'll be like, all right, let's manifest something different, because that didn't work out quite how I was planning. Let's do this. Let me put back on my manifesting thinking cap and see if I can dial that in just a hair tighter than what I had before. Hopefully this makes a difference. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel if you have already. If not, please do so. And for commenting, for throwing out the thumbs ups, the likes, the shares, and trying to engage people in the community. I always appreciate all of you out there that are trying to help other people that are going through similar issues in your life. And I thank you so much for all of that. Please put out comments for video ideas too, because I enjoy those and I certainly take notes. I've always got my little yellow pad that I keep with me even when I'm working, and I occasionally will check out comments and see what's going on over there, and certainly make notes when I see stuff that sounds like an awesome show topic. So look forward to doing more with you guys. It's Dan RadioStyle. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.